Alright, video response to, I guess, Fred and maybe Professor Anton, I don't know. And anyway, some guy, swivel guy, who did this magical thinking video. So yeah, the first thing that came to mind was when Fred was doing the word association thing. And he made these, I think, pretty poor arguments that somehow nose punch or nose bleed, like say if you thought of bleed when I said the word nose, or you thought of the word punch when I said the word nose, that these were somehow not rational or logical, worldly connections. But certainly they are. I mean, the punchability of a nose noses do fit in a category. If there was a category called punchability, noses would go in there because we know that noses are punched. And nosebleed, obviously, likewise, we've all had nosebleeds. They're something noses do. So bleedability would be something a nose would be put in. And so then he made the example of the rhyming words. And, nose rhymes with rose. So if your association came up with rose, then, okay, there, now we've got something outside the realm of reality. Yeah, we also have something that's just garbage. It's a nonsense association. It's completely arbitrary, and it's erroneous. It has no rational, logical, meaningful, sensible correlation. So it's useless. It's noise. It's not information. It's fuckation. It's stupation. It's garbage. Plain and simple. And that's the failing of much of what humans do to this just basic idea. So I would say to Professor Anton that this isn't all that complicated. He keeps floating around this idea of, well, are we describing reality or are we making up reality? Is information something we possess or is it something we recognize? And he seems, like he's somewhat uncertain. And I guess I would say that, the demonstration, I think, is in the fact that we can find all these categories. And we can say which categories are sensible categories, which sense, they do have rational foundation, and things just fall into them. So you write categories that describe properties, and there really isn't anything else. So what I'm arguing is that, the truth of two-ness, or four-ness, or eight-ness, is a property that a collective of something can have. It has that property. It's not like we make it up. We didn't impose it on it. It has the property, and we are recognizing the property. And yes, the property can only be recognized by an intelligence, because only an intelligence can create a model, that contains that component of its reality, of what it actually is. But it is an actual thing. It is actually 8 or 10 or 15. And so the argument I would make is that this is the key to rational thinking. So getting back to the swivel guy, who's basically just arguing that we have all these irrational thinkers because of religion. And he concedes that that's not the only source of irrational thinking, but I don't think he stresses that point hard enough. Because frankly, our entire language is full of irrational associations and connections. The whole way we talk about things, the presumptions built into the language we use, saving a life, right? Is that a factual statement? Is that magical phraseology, right? I mean, isn't that language completely corrupt? Isn't it completely bogus? You don't save a life, you prolong a life. And you may prolong it, you may prevent absolutely nothing in terms of harm. You're just, like I said, you're just holding the domino up so it can be knocked down another day. And maybe the time frame from when it's knocked down to the next time it's knocked down, nothing will improve, and it'll only fall even harder or even more nastily. So you've saved nothing, you've prolonged something, and you may have just prolonged a negative. But it's nowhere in the language, the words, the category, the descriptive has no indication of the bogeyman. So by word association, if I went up to 100 people and said the word life, their word association they might say death, but we know that they're going to say butterfly and cream cheese, smiley face, kitty cat. They'll say some kind of bullshit, and what's the odds of them saying replication for the sake of replication? What's the odds of them saying that? Single cell, one-time event. What real property are they going to describe about life versus these unreal, non-existent, or irrelevant categories? That's the substance of this, is that religion is bad, okay, fine, but there's the presumptions go a lot deeper than religion. The aggrandizement, the self-glorifying crapola, the race glorifying, the species glorifying, all of those things are just as invidious and insidious in the non-theology category. People in the non-theology category are just as capable of perverting reality. And this is a big, huge problem. And how do we extract? The argument is okay, let's do this rational thinking thing, but just make sure you understand that rational thinking isn't being accept my DNA as God. Okay, accept my theology. He uses the word like dogma, he uses words like doctrine, the same tactics, as if these people are being the rational ones. There was even a comment on his video, it was kind of funny. Some guy said, the reincarnation of Carl Sagan, and Carl Sagan was full of magical thinking. Carl Sagan was living on a bunch of delusions and gibberish and nonsense. Yes, he was a pleasant speaker, and he was just so damn likable and all that kind of crap. But some of what he was saying was absolute crap. He was perpetuating nonsense categories, idiotic categories that had something to do with a singularity, ideas, vague notions of, even the movie Contact was such a, it's so outed, the bullshit of it, right? Because you go to all the trouble to go meet the aliens, and the scientists couldn't come up with any explanation for what the aliens know. He couldn't describe their smartness in any way whatsoever. And so he just turned them into people who said, well, you're too dumb, so we're just going to send you back for a while until you grow up. Yeah, yeah, that was really easy. Right, you don't have to explain anything that way. Just pretend that they have the magical knowledge. Well, there is no magical knowledge. There is no magical truth at the end of this shit bow. Okay, this crap bow that we're venturing down. There's no magical knowledge at the end of it. There's a replicating molecule. Psychology's built to create wanty machines that go out and gobble. It's fucking Pac-Man. That's all it is. And all the intelligence in the universe isn't going to change that category. Isn't going to change the fundamental truth of consumption, reproduction, cannibalism, addiction. Isn't going to change that there isn't anything here but creating unnecessary need. And that isn't... How do you undo that? How do you change the fact that there's no need to create need? What do you do? How do you fix that? How do you resolve that logically? Oh, that's right, you resort to some sort of magical thinking. The only way out of that truth is magical thinking. The only way around the fact that we don't miss the non-existent Martians is recognizing the fact that we are totally unmissable, that we are not accomplishing anything, we are not a vital substance, we're not functional in any way whatsoever. So there's no facts that you can resolve those truths with. You have to resort to magical thinking to find a way out of the truth. The truth that you can't have the positive till you create the negative. These are hard facts, and there's no way to logically resolve them. There's no answer to these hard facts. There's no super intelligence can think about it forever and ever and ever, and it can't find a solution to this problem, because the problem is built into the mechanism. It's a molecule replicating and nothing else. That's function. And it's not enough of a function to create something functional. You can't do something else with that device. It's a blender. That's what it is. It's not, can't convert it into a babysitter. It's just not going to happen. So anyway, I want to get back to the strict point here, that reality exists. Everything has properties, rational correlations. They have symmetries. They have, what's the right word? They have likenesses. And we can understand the likenesses, we can categorize the likenesses, we can describe things merely by describing properties and categories. And that's all there is. That's the universe. It's just made out of things, identifiable separations that have properties that can be put into categories. That's it. That is all there is. And you either describe things by having real properties and real categories, or you make up fake ones. Saving. The idea of saving. You make up a word that really doesn't have any realistic functional value beyond putting a nickel away for a rainy day. Yeah, that's the only use of that vernacular. Otherwise, it's just crap and such. I'm about average. Fine. Good horses. Anyway, horses. Anyway. Yeah, that happens to be girls on horses. I don't know, I just start making that noise. It's one of my properties. Anyway. Yeah. So that's probably enough. But anyway, this whole thing is magical thinking is a function of self-justifying humans. That's what it is. Okay, religion is just one of the carriers for those justifications. It's the thing that's created a whole, infrastructure, and it's an organized effort to self-justify. But there's lots of unorganized, just as invidious and destructive efforts to cheat the truth. And so I'm not going to say I don't know enough about this Frankenstein guy to say what his angle is. But as soon as he starts talking about the collective good, the will of the majority or some other kind of crap, that's just very dangerous right there. Because in that will be all these fake notions of purpose and accomplishment, lies and bullshit, magical, fake theories of function. The real function, the real story of life on Earth is just a hideous clusterfuck. period. And it shoots a little bit of fireworks now and then, a little bit of sparkly glitter, but the substance of it is a foul, putrid, disgusting waste of sentient welfare, and that's just the truth. And we can see it, like I said. I mean, if we say the word baby to people calling themselves non-magical thinkers, how many of them will say will inevitably die? Death. How many are going to associate baby with death? 10 years in a nursing home. Inevitable. And likely to be unpleasant. So anyway. That's probably enough. But we've sort of been through this. I mean, a lot of this, so this isn't news to the people watching this video, probably. But, whatever. There is no... It's the fake properties and the fake categories. We've got to start weeding those out of our language. We've got to start finding them obnoxious to rational conversation and start being more explicitly and brutally honest about what's happening here and such. Next time. Sun's out. Thank you. Okay. Next time.